So with Iran dialing up their military might and the presidential election right around the corner, which candidate is best suited to lead the way and go toe-to-toe with Tehran? Liz Chatterton, Democratic strategist and president of the Chatterton Group, is back with us today. And Chris Wilson is a Republican strategist and CEO of Wilson Research Strategies. Liz, let me start with you. Do you think this was strategic on Iran's part, timing-wise? Did they do this on purpose, knowing that we're in this hotly contested election cycle here in America, or do you think that they just don't care about that?
Well, Joe and Amy, first, I just want to tell you I missed you. I just had to come back today and see you again. But to answer your question, Joe, I can't imagine that Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is actually really cares at all about his effect on the presidential election, at least in July. Wouldn't shock me, of course, if something goes down 2 weeks before Election Day. But, you know, I really doubt seriously that that is why he did this today. I couldn't agree with Peter Brooks more. I think he did this as a show of strength. He did it to send a message, and frankly, we heard that message loud and clear.
So, Chris, today on the Today Show, Barack Obama, he told Matt Lauer that this calls for more intelligence, the missile testing, when in fact this was broadcast on Iranian state television. This seems like a real rookie mistake to me. Is Barack Obama ready to lead?
Well, that's the major question here, Amy, is as he's making decisions and looking for intelligence, I think what it does is it calls into question his experience, his ability to deal with these sorts of issues. And if this election becomes about national security, that's not in Barack Obama's best interest. And by making statements like that, and the rookie mistake, as it was referred to earlier, is exactly what the Barack Obama campaign has got to avoid moving into it. And again, if this continues, if Iran is able to develop the Shahab, if that moves forward, then I think you find this election being more and more about national security, and again, that plays to the McCain campaign's favor.
Hey, Liz, you're going to find this amazing, but I'm going to come at you about Barack Obama, too. Can you believe it? Barack Obama has said, he said in that debate that we all watched, that he thinks that we should have unilateral sit-downs and talks face-to-face, some sort of diplomacy with Iran and Hugo Chavez and Fidel Castro and all these other guys. Now, after this rocket launch, you figured that he would probably back off that. He has a great way to flip-flop here now, but instead of doing that, he says, this is further proof that we have to sit down and have one-on-one diplomacy with Iran. Isn't that honestly just a horrible mistake? Because now he's telling anybody in the world, set off a couple of rockets and you'll get the United States president's attention. We'll sit down and have a conversation with you.
Well, Joe, I have to tell you, I actually think it's a really good thing that he's not flip-flopping on this. What he's saying is diplomacy is always a rational first step. And in fact, I think America is really interested in a leader who has a cool head in a crisis. Because let's be honest, over the last 8 years, we have sort of overreacted in situations and we have gotten ourselves into a whole lot of trouble. Now, that doesn't mean...
But Liz, as much as I respect what you're saying, Barack Obama is not having a cool head here because he's responding to somebody who has a very hot hand. My hand is on the button is what Iran is saying right now. Barack Obama says, cool, we'll sit down and talk with you. It sounds to me, and these, Iran and the leaders there, in the way that they live their life are all about honor and all about holding up the respectability. He, to me, is honoring them by saying, okay, you've got rockets, we're afraid of you now, let's give in and sit down and talk with you. What I would say if I were Barack Obama is, forget you, man, you're going to set off rockets and think you're getting my attention? Knock that off, knock off your nuclear program, and maybe we'll sit down with a couple of friends of ours and you. What do you think?
I got to tell you, Joe, I think I still disagree with you, because I think sitting down with these leaders as a first step, not as an end game, as a first step, is a rational way to move forward. Because here's what we don't want. We don't want America to have to go marching into downtown Tehran and shut it down the way we had to shut down Baghdad. We do not want to face another situation the way we are facing a situation in Iraq. We need to try to resolve this diplomatically first. But where I will agree with you is if Mahmoud Ahmadinejad continues down this road, then I absolutely think that we have to show American might and not deal with him anymore.
But Chris, this is a canard that Barack Obama keeps throwing out over and over, that we don't have these avenues of communication, and in fact we do. Ambassador Crocker in Iraq has been sitting down with Iranians to try to put together that situation. We know that Condoleezza Rice has offered to talk to Iran, but with preconditions, the condition that they stop enriching uranium. But in fairness to Barack Obama and Democrats, when they point out John McCain's own vulnerabilities on this issue, it seems like anything you do with Iran doesn't work. So what does John McCain say?
Well, I think John McCain's got to take the same attitude that Obama should be taking, and he has been very consistent on. I'll just quote Teddy Roosevelt here: "You sort of speak softly and carry a big stick." Mount Rushmore's carved to the faces of people who want to sit down and have conversations whenever America was in danger. You've got to stand tall. You've got to take action immediately. You've got to stop this before it moves further. Otherwise, we're going to end up with another Pearl Harbor, another September 11th, or other. I could run down the analogies all day. This is not a scenario. We've got to step forward and do it.
Sure, but isn't it a fair criticism to say say that we're no better off with the Iranian situation under a Bush administration for 8 years than when we started?
Well, I think you've got to look. If you look at what's happened since President Bush took office, you look back till September 11th, there has not been an attack on the United States since that time. And there's a reason that's happened. And we all recognize that there are different things, there are things that have gone on that we may not know about. And you can make the arguments you want to about Iraq and the effects there and in Afghanistan, but the bottom line is the United States has not been attacked. But you look at what happened in Turkey, and if that gets tied back to Al-Qaeda, you've got to take a much more serious and a much more aggressive approach going at these countries with maybe harming terrorists and maybe developing nuclear weapons. And you've got to make sure you cut them off before they get the power to strike at the United States again.
Yeah, we're just getting going here. Liz, Chris, do me a favor and hang out. We'll come back to you guys in just a little while here.